the rendering that you gave us,
And typically we get some kind of floor plan. This some say, just again, this is just my input, my opinion. I think this blue one is a better fit in that neighborhood. You know, one of the things we take into account is it detrimental to the neighborhood? I'm not sure something like this kind of fits in that neighborhood, but that's your choice. So that's just my input.
If I may,
Yeah, sure.
if I may, so the reason we didn't provide details, because I think we called the city, it was per architect, you know, I'm an engineer, I run a company, I'm not a, how you say, developer or by any means. But what happens is, you know, when I spoke to the architect, you know, and my daughter, then, you know, the first question was, you know, if you can present this to the city, you know, and then we called as what's requested. So the very first thing from the city, you know, that was kind of recommended is, can you give us an approximate footprint what you want to do.
Okay,
Because, you know, the architect says that he didn't want to waste time and money if, you know, if there was some kind of a conflict or something, you know what I mean, with this, yeah? So now, if you're requesting such information, then of course we can, you know, we can go ahead and provide that to make
Right.
sure that you're also comfortable with, you know, with the design, whatever, yeah, with the square footage and stuff.
let me refer to the planning department. So would we like a floor plan, or can we say contingent on a floor plan, or?
So it's not in the ZBA regulations that the applicants have to provide floor plans. They
Okay.
do, you guys do require plot plans to confirm the zoning setback. So in there, whatever design he does provide on a floor plan has to meet the setbacks that the ZBA
Okay.
approves. So that is
So the
inherently going
shell
to
is
limit
really
the
what you
design in
guys care
itself.
about.
Yeah.
Very good.
And I would say a lot of the times applicants do provide floor plans, but I have said to people, if you are not at the floor plan stage and you want to ensure the variance first before
Yeah.
you get to
So not a
the next
requirement?
payment for design, yeah.
Okay,
But if the board wanted to see it,
okay. And again, just to confirm what we have before us, because we've all received packets, we're looking for a left-handed side setback at its shortest point of 7.5 feet, and the same on the right. And it looks like a rear setback of 20 feet, which does meet
That
our
just
three.
meets the
Yeah, okay. So you're gonna move the house forward. The other question I had is around the shed. I don't think the shed is in a location that is to code, and my request would be that it be removed or moved out. Our setback for sheds is a 5-foot requirement. To me, it looks like it's more around 1 foot. So would you be willing to remove the shed?
Yeah, I mean.
It doesn't mean you can't put another one in,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
either remove it or move it, because it currently doesn't meet our code.
Yeah, I mean, we can, you know, like I said, we need it for lawnmower and for, you know, for stuff, yeah, gardening tools and stuff like this, yeah? So we can do maybe smaller and move it over, yeah?
Okay.
To relocate it.
Again, most times sheds are in the rear of the property too, and this is unique where it's in the front. Okay.
This is the way the property was, you know, so
Sure.
I wish, I have no
Yep.
answer why it was like this,
Yep,
you know, but of course, like I said, we, you know, we will do whatever to
Okay.
accommodate, yeah?
so you take that as a condition,
Is it okay if we put it in the back of the house?
as long as it meets the setback, I believe so.
Right.
Because we have 5 feet, so if we have
Yeah.
20 feet, then we can put a shed in the back,
Yeah.
and nobody will see it, it's okay for us. yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, we can do it for sure, because we will have plenty of room on the side, you
Yeah.
know, with the small lawnmower to come in and cut the
Very
grass.
good.
So, yeah, so we can
So
agree
you'll
to
take
put
that
it in
as
the
a
back, yeah.
condition to remove the shed, okay,
Well, to relocate it to the back.
He wants to move it to the back.
yes.
Thank
But that would come
as long
through a
as it's
separate
120
permit.
square feet or less, it can be 5 feet from the setback.
Okay, so yeah, we're,
We
we're
can
okay.
We're all
we're
saying
okay
the
with
same
it, yeah.
thing, right?
Yep.
Okay, any additional questions from the board?
I have another question.
Yes, go ahead, Becky.
So, I'm just gonna go back to the size of the house, because the footprint of the house is 23 by 50, so that's 1,150 square feet, which is what's on your plan, but you're talking about a 2-story house.
Oh, but,
So it's 1,150 square
Times
foot
2.
footprint. So are you gonna double that in terms of the size of the house? We don't count the front porch, but
oh,
we
you
would-
don't, okay, because I think that's what it is, it's a front porch, it's, everything's included.
No, the porch
No,
is
no, no.
separate.
If you look at your sketch, the size of the footprint of the house is 23 by 50,
Okay.
which is 1,150 square feet.
That works.
But if there's a second floor.
But if it's second floor, then it's double that square footage.
Oh,
No, it's 2,300 square foot house.
I'd be happy to provide the plans for you, you know.
If you want to say that
Yes,
it's
yes.
not going to be more than 2,300, then we could work with that. But I don't think you want to get it restricted to 1,150,
'Cause then you're saying you
1,150,
can only have one
otherwise it's
floor.
only going to be
Okay,
one
okay.
story.
No, so that's fine, so
you could
whatever
just
you
say
say
the
it's a regulation, then that's
footprint.
okay, yes?
Well,
That,
they could make it 3 stories.
Okay.
Yes, I,
Well, just to be clear, we're here to see if we can make this work, what you're requesting. So we're not putting a size constraint on it. We're just working with what you're providing us.
yeah, but if you tell me, if you say, look, this is what we would like for you to hold it, yes,
Yes.
that is okay, and then say, this is a porch, this is what you have allocated, this is for, I'm not an architect, as I said, yeah,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
from an
Right.
architect.
I think
and,
Ms.
you know.
Kilborn's just making the clarification, if we held you to 1150, that would say you
Aha, because it
couldn't
would-
have a second story.
I got it,
So she's saying, basically, you want 2,300,
Yeah.
which will give you 2 floors.
We got ourselves in trouble one time. Somebody came in, they had a little tiny lot. They said they wanted to build a tiny house.
Yeah.
They built a monstrosity. And so when we saw it going up, we couldn't believe it, but we
Okay.
didn't give them any restrictions.
Any
So we
limitations.
learned our
You can put that
lesson,
20,
yeah.
you can
All
put
right,
that
so you'll
2100
take that
or
as a
whatever.
condition as
Please,
well.
yeah, that's
Okay.
okay.
Made
that's
us look
okay.
bad.
Yes, please, yeah, it's okay.
Neighbors weren't happy with us.
It's okay. For us, it's okay. It's like I said, it's just for my daughter, and it's okay.
Yeah.
I actually
Yeah,
have a
hold on one
question.
second,
set.
Corinne. Ken, go ahead.
So through you, Mr. Chair, how do we, Georgia, how do we, without seeing floor plans, how do we eliminate this kind of mishap?
Well, really, the mishap being the oversize.
Right, I mean, if we just approve what's here, he could put, I don't know, a 4-story building if he wanted to.
Well, it
We're
would have
just
to meet the
approving
height limit.
setbacks.
It would have to meet the height limit for the residential
that
zoning
zone.
district, so.
I'm being a little
Yeah,
overboard.
no, I understand that. So in this, your approval, you would want to reference the plan. I get there's no floor plans here to reference, but in here, you could reference those exact side setbacks with a livable square footage of 2,300 square feet.
Okay.
I think that's your best and,
This footprint with no more than 2 stories or whatever.
You good?
And we would be okay, we would know that if we had floor plans.
Yeah, but
and I would say the
No
building
questions to ask.
inspector, he reviews every approval there, and when he cross-references, he's gonna say, all right, well, your floor plans say 3,300, but
Right.
this requirement says 2,300.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, and also that zone has a height to the midpoint limitation, correct? Midpoint
Yeah,
of
so,
the roof,
yeah, the height limit there, I believe, is 30 feet, and that's
30 or
measured.
35,
I'd have to
30?
triple
What do you
check.
think?
Ken, you all set?
I am, thank you.
Corinne, you had another question?
Yes. Where did you get this? Did an architect give
Oh,
this
no,
to
no,
you?
just from the internet print.
Oh, okay.
It was
'Cause
just an
I was
idea.
gonna say, if the architect gave you this, he could tell you the square footage
No,
of
no.
a house like this.
No, it was
Okay.
just me and my daughter were looking through, like what would kind of, I don't know, it's just for discussion purposes, yeah?
Okay,
So that's why, yeah, as a look, of the house, yeah?
okay,
But,
okay.
But like I
Thank
said,
you.
totally, we're not asking for anything other than just a, small single-family home, and it's for her, and, that's all we're asking for.
I have one last question. Would this have a full foundation?
Yeah, we will make a full, brand-new foundation, yes.
Brand-new
We will make
foundation.
a very nice, clean
And-
foundation, yeah, to
Yeah,
make sure.
and I noticed the current home is propane for heating system. What is there gas on the street
No,
or
we have to investigate. If there is a gas on the street, we for sure would prefer, the gas.
to make that
Because it's
connection?
easier, and also we're thinking about taking the electrical and doing it in the ground.
Yeah.
Because it's safer now, and it's, kind of everybody recommends. So
Okay.
we're thinking of doing the same thing, you know what I mean? Yeah, because,
Yeah.
we have sewer and we have a drain, water and a drain. So we want to make sure that, everything is nice and clean and organized, yeah.
And provided this board passes this application tonight, what's your time frame to get started on this project?
Oh, I mean, if there's a preference for us, we're very slow, yeah? We're not doing this to, how you say, rush or to make money. We want to do it step by step, you
Yeah.
know? So for us, we would like to start to clean up everything. Hopefully this year we can get, clean up of the property and get everything. And then we're hoping maybe put a foundation and maybe, how you say, just a raw
Okay.
structure by end of this year, if possible, yeah.
Yeah, I think
maybe
that-
that's too optimistic, I'm not sure, but.
Yeah, well, I think, how long have you owned the property?
About a year.
Yeah, and I think for me, if I were a neighbor, just the site of the property, although I know you're trying to, make it better, I think some grass maintenance and things of that nature should take place even while you're waiting. Just to, so your neighbors don't have to look at such a hayfield.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Actually, and Erica and Corey,
First
they
project,
were,
right?
They were preparing, lawnmower over the weekend.
Okay.
So hopefully by tomorrow they have it all done, and they take it there and put it in the shed and they'll clean up. But that
Okay.
was our discussion over the weekend, actually. So
Okay,
Yeah.
any additional questions?
Nope.
I think,
I have one more.
yep, go ahead, Ken.
I was confining to 2,300. I mean, what if is there any living space up in the peak? Like, the crawl space, what if that is a attic type of place with it. I'm just saying, if we confine them to 2,300 and they like have 2,500.
Well, I think that's
You know.
where the building inspector would step in, correct?
Or they would have to come back here, because it's not
They'd
meeting
have
the
to come here for
condition of the,
modification.
So then
of
do
your
you wanna
finding.
Give them a little more? I mean, just say
I'm
25.
giving them what they're asking for. And
Yeah, I
if
mean,
they're asking for 25, they're asking for 25. Currently, I think what's before us is 23.
2,300.
Yeah, it should be as much as they can fit under 30 feet within the setbacks, I think. I mean, I would just confine it with the setbacks, because you never know if it's a little bit over.
Well, I don't think we can just say setbacks, right? Because we have to dimension, we have to reference this
The plan
plot
is
plan.
approved.
Yeah, the approved plan, so I don't think we can, I mean, they've got it right on here that it's 1150 per floor. Yeah.
I just didn't know if there was gonna be living space up in that little crawl, if they could fit another floor up there or something. Like a, you know, if they.
Well, again, I don't think they actually have a floor plan yet, so I think they would have to work within the 2,300. And if they thought they had to go over, they'd have to come back before us. And George, just before I put it out to the public, I guess I'm still not clear. Does this border conservation land, and do they need approval from conservation?
If you want me to check now during the meeting, I can.
Okay. I think that's pertinent because,
I work with the applicant offline, so I'm happy to check, and then they would be informed. And also, if he went to get his building permit, he would be sent up to conservation before he could build anything, if he
okay,
was.
so even if we approve it,
Yeah,
it
oh,
would
even
have
if you
to
guys
see that
approve
process.
anything, it
Okay,
always
I'm
goes
good with
through.
that then.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, no further questions from the board? We'll go out to the public. Anybody here would like to speak on 144 Dayton Street? Yeah, go ahead to the microphone, identify yourself, and ask your questions through with the board, please.
Hi, I'm Jody Steen. I actually am next door at 146 Dayton Street. I have a few questions. Can you put up the picture? I want to know about the trees, because obviously the land, and again, you bought the property. I've lived there for 30-something years. The previous owners, the property is just a dump. It's just terrible. So I want to know what trees are you taking down? Like this tree right here, which is right against my fence, because right here is chain link, is dead. I'm a little bit nervous about that tree right there. And this one too is huge, so I don't know if you're taking those down.
I think they indicated they were gonna trim those trees
Okay,
through
yeah,
a tree company, and maybe 2 would be removed
Okay,
from the rear.
yeah, because this one here is dead. This one's, I'm nervous like it, and it's been that way for a long time.
He can let him answer.
Hold up, yeah, just let her ask her questions. We'll get you
Alright,
back
So I
up.
was wondering, all right, so that's gonna be trimmed, and that's fine. How much, at the variance, how much are you moving forward? How many feet is that?
They are moving the home. See, the existing property has a rear setback of 13 and a half.
Forward about 20 feet.
Well, yeah,
That's not an exact number, but about 20.
Okay.
about
About
20,
twen-
20, between
okay.
20 and 25 feet
Forward. Okay.
forward. And they're squaring it up.
Yeah, okay.
So they will have equal setbacks on both the left and right side of the property.
Okay,
And they have agreed to remove the shed and put it in the rear of the property. And they've agreed to no larger than 2,300 square foot, which is a 23 by 50 footprint, but times 2, because it'll be a first floor and a second
Yep.
floor.
okay,
And a front porch, which does not count towards the square footage.
okay. So that's the front porch is an addition.
That's right, 19 by 8 according to the plan.
What was the dimension on that?
19 by 8.
I'll give you my plans.
Yeah, you can have this.
Okay, all right, yeah. Again, I'm excited because it's gonna be great for them
Yeah,
to
it
have a
looks
really
like it'll be a
nice house
good
there on the
opportunity.
property. I'm just a little bit nervous, I'm fine with the demolition, I just wanna know what was gonna go there. So,
So you're in favor?
I'm not like one of those difficult neighbors, and yes, I'm glad that, the shed, I definitely had an issue. Again, probably not for this board to know, but there's like millions of woodchucks under there right now.
We'll have to find a new home.
Yes, exactly. So, and they're running back and forth. And And you already addressed it, yeah, and again, not trying to be difficult, but yeah, if you could keep the grass mowed, the previous owner, again, was, you know, they mowed it probably 3 times in 25 years, so, I'm quite
Very
frankly
good.
sick of looking at it like that. Just 2 other points, again, not for that, but, right now, there's no city gas, it's all propane.
Okay.
And
yeah.
yes, it's absolutely conservation, because I am as well, next door,
Okay,
so,
very good. Thank you.
yep. That's it.
Anyone else from the public like to speak on 144 Dayton? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. We will come back to the board and deliberate. And we'll start down there with you, Becky.
I'm in favor of this. I think it'll be an improvement, and
Very good. Jeff?
Yes, I'm in favor as well. I think anything will be an improvement.
Sure. Ken?
I will vote for this.
And Ken?
I'll vote for this, too.
And Corinne?
I would vote for this, yes.
And I too think this will be a vast improvement. I think the neighbors and the neighborhood will all be happy when this is complete. And I would just like to get a motion with those 2 conditions, if somebody could do that.
you want me to do it? I move to grant the finding in accordance with Section 3.17 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw to allow the demolition, reconstruction, and expansion of the pre-existing non-conforming single-family home as shown on the plans submitted by the applicant, as it is appropriate in scale and massing for the neighborhood and will not be substantially more detrimental than what presently exists, with 2 conditions. 1, that the home not be more than 2,300 square feet, and 2, that the shed be moved from the existing location to a location that's in compliance with the zoning. Okay?
Very good. I got a motion,
I will second that.
and I've got a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. Good luck.
Good luck.
And see the planning department. They'll get you squared away. Okay, folks, we're going to move on to our next case, okay? Mr. Clerk. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our next and last case
Good luck.
is 200 Commonwealth Ave, C3 zoning, requesting a use variance from Table 1 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow self-storage use in the C3 zoning district. Request for a dimensional variance from Table 3 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow the construction of a new building with a rear setback of 24.8 feet where 25 is required, and with a front setback of 23 feet where 50 is required. Request made by 200 Commonwealth Ave LLC, care of Nancy McCann, docket number 22-4978.
Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah. It'll be great. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you very much. My name is Nancy McCann. I'm here on behalf of 200 Commonwealth Avenue LLC. With me tonight is Scott Cameron. And this is a bit of deja vu, as you may recall. We were before you back in January of 2021 requesting a self-storage facility and the 2 variances that were mentioned, front setback and rear setback variances. This is the exact same application. The plans are identical. There have been no changes whatsoever. Why we're here is an issue that I have personally with the Zoning Act, and which is Mass General Laws, Chapter 48, Section 10, that limits the duration of a variance, which is the first permit you have to get when you start permitting a project. If you need a variance, you have to get that first. And variances are only good for a year. And the clock starts to tick the day your decision on the variance is filed with the town clerk. So that 1 year started to run back last January of 2021. We proceeded forward in the normal course with then doing the engineering necessary for site plan approval. We did receive site plan approval in July. Site plan approval has a clock of 2 years. We then proceeded with Conservation Commission. We received Conservation Commission approval in August of last year. That permit, the one you get last, has the longest clock of 3 years.
Sounds like it's
So-
backwards.
Yeah,
It's
sounds
a-
it's a little backwards.
I would love to see the legislature change this, or at least have the variance clock start once all the permits are in place. But that's not the way it's worded. We have to get the variance first. It has the shortest clock. So the applicant proceeded forward in good faith, got all of the permits. As you recall, the building, and we'll be presenting it to you, is a lovely building. It's very attractive, and went forward with construction drawings and proceeded forward and has applied for the building permit and applied for the building permit in March. But the variance had expired in April. So we're back. We can't ask to extend it because it's expired, so we have to have this project before you anew, but it is the exact same application. So with that introduction and allowing me to vent on my my displeasure with the zoning act, we are requesting a use variance to allow a self-storage facility at 200 Commonwealth Ave, which is the site of the old Leiden Aquatic Center. This board has granted use variances specifically for the aquatic center in the past, because we're dealing with a very irregular shaped lot. The property is located in the C3 zoning district. It has about an acre of land, but that acre is a triangle. And it's very difficult to, if even possible, and the board has found this as the hardship 3 times now, to place a building with a use permitted in the C3 zoning district that is typically a larger building that always requires more parking than we would have room for on this site because of the irregular shape. So we have proposed a building here that is basically in the same footprint with a small addition essentially headed to the east. It's a reconstruction to create this new self-storage facility with parking that is necessary for this use, which is a very low parking generator and has very low parking requirements. So it fits this site. It fits an irregularly shaped lot. We can design a building that fits here for self-storage purposes. We're impacted by wetlands in the back as well, so we've been able to deal with all of that with this design. The applicant purchased the property in 2018 and has tried to find uses for the existing building that has simply fallen into terrible disrepair. It has this pools inside and all of that, and really it needs to be replaced. And so we are proposing this self-storage facility, and again, the board found both back in 1985 and in 1986 that we have unique site challenges, and you found that again in 2021 with regard to this project specifically, that there are unique conditions related soil conditions as it relates to the wetlands, as well as the shape of the lot that are a hardship here. The applicant has also done marketing research, which we presented to you previously, and I'll present it to you again, that there is a need in the Danvers area and the North Shore area for self-storage facilities. We're about 220,000 square feet less than what the market requires. This application has a 63,000 square foot proposal for self-storage, so it helps to meet the need for self-storage in the neighborhood at 63,180 square feet. Again, it's this type of use lends itself to a flexible design. It's a low traffic generator with low parking requirements. Georgia, if you could just put up, before I turn it over to Scott, the elevation drawing, just to remind you once again, this applicant has gone to great lengths to work with his design team to come up with a very attractive building. It doesn't look like a boxy self-storage facility. In fact, it looks like an office building, and it's really very attractive. And so as window detailing, and it fits in well with Dick's Sporting Goods and the medical office. that are located in the same general area. The use requires a use variance, and we are seeking a front setback variance. The existing building is 23 feet. We are taking a front setback, we're taking that down, and we're requesting a front setback of 23.3 feet. So we are staying relatively or almost substantially the same as the front setback now, and we are requesting a rear setback of very small variance. The requirement is 25 feet. We're at 24.8 feet, so we're very close. And we meet the height requirement in the zoning district. And I know we'll have those pretty pictures. You do have the
I'm
hard
so
copies.
sorry.
We have them.
It's
We have
frozen.
You do have the hard copies of them. With that, I'll turn it over to Scott Cameron to just walk you through the plan, which hopefully will be in your mind anyway, and you'll be able to.
Pull it up. It's coming. All right.
Good evening, Georgia, if you wouldn't mind putting up the site plans.
Just
Again,
trying.
Look at that, I just needed Scott.
I'll walk through those, you got it.
You want to do the site plan
I'll
first?
start there. Good evening. For the record, my name is Scott Cameron with the Moore & Camera Group, 66 Elm Street in Danvers, Massachusetts. Thanks for having us tonight. I'll try to be relatively brief. I just wanted to piggyback on the timelines, which Nancy's not involved with, but it doesn't stop at the permits. We then have to fully engineer the building, which isn't all me, but architects, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, fire protection engineers, everybody, handicap access, all that stuff, and that takes a period of time too. So even after we get all the public permits, then we have that to do, and then we can file for building permits. So this is usually the first stop, but you do have the benefit here of a fully engineered project all the way through to building permit application. So we have been through the technical reviews at site plan. We have been through the conservation reviews with regards to wetlands impacts. A particular notice on this property, there are wetlands on 3 sides that aren't the frontage. The wetlands come right up to the existing building, right up to the existing edge of pavement. There really is nowhere to build other than what is there now. And that for these reasons, we designed everything to fit within the footprint of the building itself or the parking area. And the end result is we're actually pulling the parking back away from the wetlands. We're creating a little bit more vegetated buffer around the building. We did go through, and I believe this may have been the first application of the new wetlands bylaw. It was around the new time, so there were 25 and 50 foot setbacks, other things that we had to pay attention to, worked closely with the Conservation Commission on designing this. Utility upgrades, brand new storm conveyance sewer, which benefits everybody in the neighborhood. It will be fully reconstructed and replaced on this project. The sewer will be retrofitted and renovated to eliminate some existing groundwater inflow. We've gone through and procured the stormwater permit from the Danvers Engineering Department, so they reviewed it on that level too. You have only 11 parking spaces to support the building. The loading and offloading of the vehicles, smaller vehicles outside, but there is a full garage bay that will also hold 2 full-size moving trucks inside the building, so a lot of that can happen inside, weather protected, wind protected. That all happens inside. And there's really not much else to it. If you wanted to show the elevation drawings, just quickly, 4-story building, it meets the height requirements of the zoning. It's a striking building. And the existing building, as you know, this is a former aquatics center. Much more intense use on the property with regards to traffic, pool discharge, wastewater. And right around 460 units, depending on how they do the final partitions inside. They're flexible, so right around that size as far as the storage units. And if you have any questions about the technical design, I'm happy to answer those for you. With respect to support for the application, again, we felt with the triangular wedge shape of the lot, the wetlands that constrain it, Also, the elevations, just getting in and out of that driveway, you know, the aquatic center, you gotta kinda drive up to get into it. You had to work with that too. You have drainage in the front. There's a large kind of stormwater area I mentioned that we're rebuilding, having to work with that. We really, I feel, fit a very customized building onto this property and are really just asking to maintain the existing condition as far as the setbacks to the existing building. That's it. I probably talked more than I probably needed to, but happy to answer any technical questions.
Thank you. That's it? All right, before I turn it over to the board, Attorney McCann, I don't need you to go through the whole timeline again, but I just want to make sure I'm clear. So, well, actually, in browsing through the minutes from the first time you were before us, I think there was question around parking that was going to get ferreted out basically through the planning department. Just summarize, where did that go and what did we end up with?
It got ferreted out, and the planning board agreed that the parking that we've showed you on the plan, it's a total of 13 parking spaces, 11 outside, 2 inside, is sufficient for this use.
So that's what you put before us and there was no change?
Correct.
Okay. And our timeline started for you in January 2021?
Correct.
But I thought I heard you said it expired in April. I guess I'm a little confused on that. If it was 1 year, wouldn't it have expired?
No, I don't think I said that, but if I did, it expired in January.
It did, okay.
Yes, it expired in January. We applied for a building permit in March.
And
In
could not
March.
get issued because this agreement had expired.
Correct.
And all the other agreements you have in place do not expire, and you do not have to revisit those other departments.
That is correct.
Very good. That's just wanted to make sure I had that clear. All right, with that said, Corinne, we'll start with you.
I just have one question. If we grant the relief tonight, when do you think construction will begin?
Very soon, because the building permit application is already in. First happens as a demo, and then construction will begin thereafter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Corinne. Ken?
I think before, when this was presented, there was a vantage point from like Purchase Street or these streets, residential streets, towards the building, and there was sort of where you could see the elevation from the street. I didn't see that in this packet, but I remember, I think someone had a picture of that.
I don't recall that. Scott, do you recall that?
We talked a little bit about that. I can.
Yeah.
So the building itself, as we mentioned, it conforms with the height of the district itself. And if you look at the massing of the next 2 buildings down Com Ave, which you have the office building, which is a little shorter, and then you have the Dick's Sporting Goods, which is actually taller than this. And then you look at the residents that are further away. There's no resident anywhere near this building. You have to kind of look over. Is it 140 Com Ave? I think is the adjacent building, which is the office building. And then there's a multifamily that actually relief was granted. That is probably the closest, brand new one, 8 units that Mr. Mrs. built a few years ago, which is the brown house you see from Sylvan Street. So that's the nearest one, and that's sitting well above this. That actually looks, the apartments actually look over this building because the grade comes up about 20 feet where all those properties. So Sylvan Street's up higher than all these buildings. And then you have the Ford dealership, and that's, it's commercial. Then you have an open field on the other side. The mall's on the other side, so it's back of the house. It's the loading docks. You have the cinema exit is there, but it's very utilitarian in that area. That's not kind of a main thoroughfare for the mall, which is on the other side of the building. So, again, the massing size, it was all, we went through this, again, the benefit of a fully reviewed plan by all the boards. Planning, we talked about that. Conservation, we talked about it too. But the consensus, obviously, with the approval of the project was it fit.
Thanks, Ken. Ken?
No questions, I'll wait for comments.
Jeff?
No questions.
Becky?
No questions.
And Mr. Bradstreet, any public comment?
Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. The building looks appropriate. I just don't want this to look like what 114 looks like with that massive tower, that you have a building that's really out of place because it's really high. If this is comparable to what's around it, that's fine.
Yeah.
I just don't want another tower. I don't think the people in town want another tower.
Correct.
We just want to, it's Danvers. We want it like it is.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks. And Attorney McCann, if I could, I'd say from when you first presented this to us to now, you're much further down the road as far as the design, and so you guys should be able to kind of hit the street running with this if it's approved tonight.
Oh, absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
Because you don't have to go to conservation, to planning, so.
We have to go nowhere else other than the building inspector's office to pick up the building.
So I would imagine demolition would be occurring within the next month?
I would think, it certainly could. It
Some-
certainly
Sometime this
could.
summer.
If you can find a contractor.
If you can find a contractor.
Yeah, that-
Exactly.
I didn't even mention that as part of the delay process, because you all already know that, but,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. With that said, I'll come back for deliberations. Corinne?
I will vote for this.
Thank you. Ken?
I opposed it before, and I'm gonna oppose it again because of the height. I didn't like the height compared to the mall across. I think that's like 2 stories. And I think that medical building next to it is like 3 stories or so. I know it is shorter. But it's just, even though it meets 45 feet, I think 45 feet is too high for that area. It's gonna dwarf everything.
Thank you, Ken. And Ken?
Thank you. So I've been a title examiner for 30 years, and we talk about this all the time. There's no way commercial variances should last 1 year. I'm totally with you on that. I mean, it's insane how many permits you need to get. But 1 year goes by in a split second. So I will definitely vote for this.
Thank you, Ken. And Jeff?
I will vote for this.
Thank you, Jeff. And
I
Becky?
will vote for this.
And I too will vote for this. I think the question around the height's a valid one. However, I think compared to Dick's and the look of this, I think if this looked like your typical U-Haul or self-storage places like that, I may not be as favorable on it, but I do agree with you. It has more of an office building look, and I think at the mall, to me, that's an appropriate place to have something of this. And if storage units don't work out, you might be able to just flip it into an office building. So, anyway, could I get a motion, please?
I'm going to do 2 motions, one for the use variance and one for the dimensional variance. The first motion, the vote to issue a use variance from Table 1 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw to allow, I move to vote to issue a use variance from Table 1 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw to allow the construction of a self-storage facility in the Commercial 3 zoning district where it is otherwise prohibited, as shown on the plans provided by the applicant. The hardship is the size and shape of the lot, specifically the irregular shape and abutting wetlands. This condition does not affect other properties or structures in the same zoning district. A literal enforcement of the zoning bylaw would involve substantial hardship to the applicant, and granting this variance will not create a substantial detriment to the public good and will not nullify or derogate from the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw.
I will
I've got a
second that.
motion and I've got a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay. And I move to issue a dimensional, vote to issue a dimensional variance from Table 3 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow a new self-storage facility with a rear setback of 24.8 feet, where 25 feet is required, and a front setback of 23 feet, where 50 feet is required, as shown on the plans provided by the applicant. The hardship is the size and shape of the lot, specifically the irregular shape and abutting wetlands. This condition does not affect other properties or structures in the same zoning district. a literal enforcement of the Danvers, of the zoning bylaw would involve substantial hardship to the applicant, and granting this variance will not create a substantial detriment to the public good and will not nullify or derogate from the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw.
I will second that.
I've got a motion and I got a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes.
Good luck.
And good luck with the project.
Thank you.
We can't wait to see it.
I know, I think it's long overdue there. Could I get a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
I'll
And
second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Good night.
Good night, Dan.